Hello and welcome to Low Budget Gaming and welcome to another first Descendant video. So in this video I have builds for three guns, the Fallen Hope, Divine Punishment and Excava. We got a patch 2 days ago, 20 weapons got buffs, and so instead of making 20 videos I thought I'll make videos covering similar categories of guns, let's say. So that's why I have the three assault rifles here that got changes. Changes are nothing major if I'm being honest here. So the builds don't change that much. I have made videos for all of these guns previously. So I wanted to combine everything and make things easy. So let's start with the Fallen Hope. Fallen Hope got an increase to the base toxic attack. So if you see over here, it says 12,429. Previously, this was only 4,741. So massive increase to the toxic. The other change is in one of its unique abilities over here. On hitting a poisoned enemy, your firearm attack is 65%. Previously, this was only 35%. So when you inflict the status poison on the enemy by shooting at it with this gun and then keep shooting at the enemy with the status, you'll do more damage. Now, of course, I would have liked them to look at the explosion unique ability, but it's fine. The gun is very powerful as it is, and they've made it even more powerful with the extra toxic attack. So the build hasn't changed that much. In fact, not at all. So rifling reinforcement, action reaction, charge amplification. Because crit rate and crit damage is in the highest, we are adding more firearm attack at the expense of critical hit damage. One mod to give us some ammo in the magazine. Fire rate, 2 element mods in toxic enhancement, poison priority, and 3 mods for the multi-hit stuff. This gun has the highest multi-hit damage, the base. So we have multi-percussion sight for 30% multi-hit chance. Multi-piercing sight gives us 70% critical hit damage, and multi-induction. So when you hit the weak points, you can get up to 10 stacks of multi-hit chance, meaning 57 over here and 30 over here, 87. Now on the rolls of the gun, I did not get the perfect rolls that I wanted. I got firearm attack, multi-hit chance, toxic chance, and rounds per magazine. I would drop the rounds per magazine and try to get multi-hit damage as well. But this is good enough, it's fine. Now in the course, I have toxic in the free, a firearm attack in the orange one, and in the element one I have again toxic. In the green one I went with fire rate. You can go with rounds per magazine if you want it more. The gun has decent fire rate for an assault rifle, but I wanted to increase it further just to see. And then I've gone with recoil. So this is a big assault rifle, has heavy recoil, plus we are trying to aim for the weak points with our multi-hit induction, which is the heads for the enemies, normal mobs. So I wanted to reduce the recoil, so that makes it easier to hit the head of the enemy. So let me just show you what it looks like once we get everything the way we want. So I've gone for a Colossus just to show you the nice big weak point. Over here, what we have is 35% multi-hit chance. So 5.9 from the roll and 30 from the gun, 1.7 multi-hit damage. Okay, we don't have much in terms of weak point damage. So the multi-hit induction works by giving you 10 stacks of multi-hit induction, meaning you can now see the 57 from there combined with the 35.9, we are up to 92.9. So massive increase, you do a lot of damage. Gun has a lot of multi-hit damage base. We've increased that further. It also has a lot of toxic, weak point toxic, everything combined, and you'll do a lot of damage. Very handy gun, very powerful. It was always powerful, but it's even more deadly now. So quickly a word about Descendants like Gley and Serena. So this is like a build for normal Descendants, every other Descendant that is not getting a buff with the guns. With Serena, you don't need the multi-hit induction because Serena's second ability for the general rounds weapons will give you 50% just by being in the air. So you can drop this and put multi-bullet, which will give you more multi-hit damage when you hit multi-hit. So yeah, easy enough swap. With Gley, you take the, you can maybe do it like this. Once again, we take the multi-bullet, we keep the multi-hit induction, and we drop the ammo mod that we are using with other people and just use the multi-hit bullet. That is the simplest swap you can do if you use it with Gley. I don't think I use it with Gley. I've used it with Serena for like taking on the Colossus, and for normal Descendants you can use this. So that is the Fallen Hope. Alright, next we have the Divine Punishment, another gun which is fairly similar to the Fallen Hope in terms of stats, but with fire and one or two changes. Now with the Divine Punishment, once again, they've made three changes. The base element damage has been increased for the fire element. Previously it was 6,906, now it is 9,031. The other change is they have increased the the weak point damage on this gun. So where is 1.56. Previously it was 1 time. So weak point has been increased on the gun. And the third change is in one of his unique abilities called Glory. So with Glory, when you inflict a debuff on an enemy, it will grant you unique effect Glory to yourself. And Glory means you get 1.4% firearm attack increase per stack for 25 stacks. So if you can get the 25 stacks quickly, you can do more damage with the gun. Now the debuffing, you don't have to do it necessarily with the gun. You can do it with your skills as well, if you can get to 25. So let me just show you what it looks like. Over here, 37,194 is the damage. Now if we get some Vulgus here, okay. Now notice on the shoulder of Bunny, you'll see that gun with like 4 or 5 knives coming out, or some rays of light or whatever it is. And the middle one on the left, 25. You can see we got the 25 stacks very quickly, and we are now doing 40,913. So almost 4,000 damage more. Easy enough to get that. Now for the build, very similar to the Fallen Hope once again. It has similar stats. It has good multi-hit damage at 0.9 times. Fallen Hope is at 1 times. Then we have low crit rate, good fire. So very similar. Action reaction, rifling reinforcement, charge amplification, the same 3 modes, fire rate. And then we have fire enhancement and fire priority. And you can now look into the multi-hit stuff. So we have multi-percussion for a 30% chance, multi-piercing for a 70% damage, multi-hit damage. And we're using multi-hit induction once again to hit the weak points and get the 57% from the 10 stacks. And I've also put multi-bullet. So the reason for this one is, of course, we'll be doing a lot of multi-hit damage, multi-hit. And then if we do that, we get more damage. This also helps us get the 25 stacks of Glory much faster. So let me just remove this. And now shoot at the enemy. And notice we have 5 Glory stacks, 6 now. Hit this guy, 7 now. 8. 8 still, 9. No, still 8. See, so you can see it's much slower to get those 25 stacks. Okay, 9. If we put that mod back in, multi-bullet, you'll see we get this instantly. 20, 23, 25. There you go. That quickly. So yeah, so this helps with that as well. Now this gun did get an increase to the weak point. It's about 1.5, which is again in the middle. I don't know if I can call it great, but if you wanted, you could probably drop the multi-bullet and add something like have aiming. Maybe you can drop the second fire and have aiming, things like that. So again, build is similar. Once again, if you are going with Serena, you don't need this. With Gley, I think just fine as it is, because we are not putting a mod for the ammo. On the outside, what we have here is fire attack, firearm attack, multi-hit chance, multi-hit damage. These are the 4 I wanted. I got all of them. Multi-hit damage is in purple, but it's fine. At the cores, again, very similar to the Fallen Hope. We have fire element in the free one, firearm attack in the orange one, fire element in the blue one. But in the green one, this time I went with rounds per magazine. You can go with fire rate. I wanted it to be a little different to the Fallen Hope, so I went with more firearm with rounds per magazine. You can put firearm and it will feel very similar to the Fallen Hope. And then in the yellow precision one, I went with recoil to reduce the recoil, so making it easier to hit the people. So that is your Divine Punishment build. You see here we get 1.647 multi-hit, 35.8. I mean that's from the roll. Maximum it goes is 5.9, so we got 5.8. So, and when you hit the weak points and get the multi-hit induction, this will again go to 92.8. So yeah, pretty close, but obviously the Fallen Hope hits a little harder. But this is the fire equivalent, let's say. All right, finally the Excava. Excava did not see too many changes. The only thing we got is more element attack, more electric attack. Previously it was 9,560. It goes up to 12,249. So the build hasn't changed. In fact, I have three builds, so I'll just spend a little time explaining. So on the outside, I went with firearm critical hit damage, firearm attack, electric attack, and I have weak point damage. Now, weak point damage isn't great. This is the role I got. You can go with, let's say, multi-hit chance, perhaps. Multi-hit is also not particularly great. In fact, this gun doesn't do anything particularly great. It has a lot of element, but other than that, no real crit rate here. The unique ability does increase the crit rate a little bit, but again, not by much. The fire rate is okay. Rounds per magazine is okay, again, same as the other guns. Weak point is again nothing special, only 1.4. Multi-hit also nothing special, 0.38. So crit rate, multi-hit, weak point, none of these things are like outstanding. They're just average, especially the crit rate. So you can just add a little bit of all of them if you want it, or just work with the element and put as much electric as you can. The way the unique ability works is, if you're shooting at the enemy, you get something called voltage charge, which is basically 15 stacks of basically hitting the enemy. Once you hit 15, it converts into a grenade, energy grenade. And then it will start from 1 to 15 again, a second grenade, 1 to 15 again, third grenade. You have a maximum limit of 3 grenades. So what these grenades do, they give you 5% critical hit rate. So you can get another 15%. So it only has 3% to begin with, and you can get it up to 18% if you hip fire. Okay. Now, if you aim down sights, it will release the 3 grenades that you had stored up here, and it'll do a bunch of damage. So number of stacks into 220%. So you can either build with multi-hit, with hip fire, or with aim down sights. So if you like aiming down sights, you can build with critical hit rates, because you're getting that 18% crit rate, 15% extra crit rate, and you can add more critical hit rate mods to increase that. Or if you're aiming down sights, you can ignore the critical hit stuff and work with weak point and things like that, and the multi-hit. So this is how it will look. So this is the hip fire build. So rifling reinforcement, action reaction, fire rate. We have concentrate support ammo because we want some crit damage here. Better insight, edging shot, better concentration. And we have electric enhancement, electric priority, and one mod to give us the multi-hit. Because we don't have a lot of multi-hit, so I just put this one here. If you can aim for the heads, the weak points, you'll get 57%, which is again a little something. So hip fire. Okay, so we are hip firing now, and you'll see we are getting the grenades. Okay, so you can see we have 3 grenades, the second one after quantum domain. Now, if we ADS, it will release the 3 grenades like that. So you see that orange, that purple sort of bombardment, let's say. So if you're constantly ADSing, you don't need to build it with crit, because it doesn't have much crit, and you'll be shooting every time you get the 15 stacks and the grenade, so you'll not be holding on to the grenade. So this will do good damage, but there's no point in holding on to the crit. So that's what I've done with the builds. I have one build for hip firing, one build for ADSing. With the hip fire build, we are working with the better insight and stuff. So if we see over here, we have 5.46 critical hit rate. Now, if we keep the hip fire and don't ADS, once we get the 3 grenades, we get up to 32% critical hit rate. So it's now a little more respectable in terms of doing crit damage. Okay, and we also have some multi-hit damage and some weak point damage. So this is the hip fire setup, but you'll have to remember not to ADS with this. Now, the other one with the ADS setup, you can see I've replaced the critical hit rate stuff, and we are working with more weak point stuff and have aiming, weak point damage. We still have the electric element mods. So now if you are ADSing and just shooting as usual, you'll be releasing that grenade every 15 stacks. So yeah, up to you how you like to play. And once again, if you like playing with the Gley, just drop anything with the ammo, and everything else will be the same. We are actually adding more weak point stuff for Gley, because if we are using Gley, I tend to ADS with Gley, but I don't really use this gun with the Gley. So this is the Gley setup. We'll be putting mental focus to get the 150 stacks there. We'll be using the multi-hit with the multi-percussion and stuff. and the rest of it is basically the same 1-2 weak points. So hopefully that was useful. Again, nothing major in terms of changes. The Excava, I had made a build before we got the multi-hit stuff, and plus the multi-hit isn't great on the gun. So I've given you 3 options. You can try whichever you prefer based on your playstyle. My personal preference would probably be the aim down sights, because I tend to forget to hip fire. Like I'll be hip firing and then I'll forget and go ADS. So one of these, whichever you can comfortably use. So those are the 3 builds for the 3 guns, the assault rifles, I should say. I'll try and look at the hand cannons next, perhaps some of the other guns, because 1 or 2 are quite interesting with the massive increase to their weak points. I've actually just picked up another Nazistra's Devotion, because this got a massive increase to the fire rate. Where is the second one? I just got a second one from the box. Anyway, maybe it's in storage or something. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think.